What if I were to tell you that I believe that right now the crypto market is set to go absolutely exponential based on a few different things. One of which is Trump. Donald Trump, the most interesting character of the past few years, perhaps. He just himself said that he is a big crypto fan. He's officially bullish, but that is not all. Matter of fact, him saying that didn't really do me too much because Trump says a lot of different things. I mean, the last 24 hours, he's again said that the stock market is looking good, and obviously everything did go pretty up, which is almost always what happens after he says that, but it's two different things related to Trump. One is that right now, their whole China connection with China opening up, these tariffs going down, pauses, etc., that on its own is a pretty big and pretty good thing for crypto, right? We can get that. But there's one more announcement, and I guess thought experiment that a lot of people have not considered, which is, what if the US has already been getting themselves into this really very much, right? And that right now, their next task, well, take a look at this, is convincing the rest of the world. Breaking news, President Trump says we are leading China in crypto. This is becoming more bullish day by day. Well, if you think about it, the fact that he said this, we're leading China in crypto, after the peace talks in terms of the trade war, etc., I think that's pretty interesting because what we have seen the last few weeks here is a very big increase in companies buying tons of Bitcoin. I mean, take a look at this. Jack Mallers' new firm, 21 Capital, just purchased $500 million worth of Bitcoin. This is starting to become a battle. And so it's becoming more and more of a battle of all of them just trying to stack as many coins as they possibly can. And again, Trump just quickly jabbing at China in that sense. I mean, even the headlines recently have started to become fun. One of them was a tiny company, this is the New York Times, a tiny company with China ties announces big purchase of Trump cryptocurrency. And also on CNN, Trump's crypto conflicts keep piling up. He's not even trying to hide it. The Trump family's crypto empire is expanding rapidly and is making earlier ethnic debates over his hotel and casino, blah, blah, blah. Chinese-linked firm raises $300 million from private investors to purchase Bitcoin and the Trump-teamed meme coin Trump. But even today, take a look at all the news that came out. $4 trillion asset manager JP Chase settles first public transaction of tokenized treasuries. But really, when you start looking into everything that's been going down right now, I'm telling you, things are starting to get wild. Things are starting to go fast. President Trump to announce new trade deal after Middle East trip. I'm telling you, if you only follow Trump, only follow whatever Trump's posting, only follow whenever he says something, I think that on its own would make you a top percentage trader. Him, again, just yesterday saying the stock market, let's take a look at this.
We just reached a historic trade agreement with the United Kingdom, and over the weekend we reached a breakthrough agreement with China. Both outstanding deals. China's agreed. We have to get it down. We have to get the little details down. And Scott, you're going to work on that very hard, but China's agreed to open up to the United States for trade and everything else. But they have to do it, so we'll see what happens. But we had a very, very good meeting with both of those countries.
This one is a bit more quiet, so sorry for that. But anyway, let's play it.
Rising market will do. Oh, it's going to get a lot higher. In fact, I told people 5 weeks ago, this is a great time to buy. I got criticized for that. Now they don't criticize me anymore. People should have listened. But it's going to go a lot higher. You're going to see, we've never had anything like this happen. It's an explosion of investment and jobs, and great companies are coming in. Never seen anything like it.
To some extent, it's kind of odd to have Trump saying, yeah, we're going to start pumping, but then the opposite side. I mean, it would be kind of odd if the president of the United States would say, oh, I think the stock market's going to go bad, right? I think it's just strange that he is also so very much right because, I mean, theoretically speaking, if you wreck the market and then save it, and in the meantime say, oh, you know what, I just wrecked it, things are going to start going amazing, you're probably going to be right if you're putting in the money and the attempts to actually save it afterwards, right? So I'm not saying he crashed everything. Matter of fact, things have been going pretty well. But on the opposite side, he makes choices of such such significance that it does, follow basically what he says. And then we'll only find out later if it was actually wrong. I mean, if he just says, buy now, everything's going to go up, And the last few times he said that things went up for a week straight and then it crashed afterwards. We can always blame the crash on something else, but the pump can be attributed to him. So then the next time people will say, oh, you see, when Trump says buy, you buy. Which brings me back to my point of if you always just buy whenever Trump is bullish, I'm not sure. It might just be the best freaking bull run strategy just because it keeps working. Anyway, one more interesting part. All three major South Korean presidential candidates, and by the way, South Korea is probably maybe the number one, but let's just say that one of the top crypto countries in the world. All three major South Korean presidential candidates support Bitcoin ETFs and institutional investment. Currently, Bitcoin ETFs and institutional investments are banned in Korea. 100% volume comes from retail, but I wouldn't say from retail, but we consider it retail because, well, most of the institutions we consider to be ETF traders of sorts, right? Or anything of that sort. As of this point, though, they're saying institutional investment is not allowed. I do not know to what extent we say institutional investment, but I guess since this comes from the crypto quant guy, right, I think he probably knows data. If he says institutionals are not allowed to invest, maybe the official road that is pretty easy in other countries around the world is completely blocked over there. Maybe public companies, for example, are not even allowed to buy it at all. I do not know the details for that. And indeed, if all three of these are bullish and they're excited about it, it's not too long before Korea is on top. And remember, Korea, I believe, might be the #1 biggest country for per person crypto volume. This doesn't mean that Korea is #1 in the world in terms of overall volume, but per person, I think Korea is on top by far. So this looks to be pretty bright and exciting. By the way, while this is all happening, I had a conversation yesterday, and that person told me, if you're going to buy something, buy gold. Just for fun, take a look at gold right now. It's actually below $3,200 an ounce again for the first time since April 14th, over 1.5% down in a day. And it's kind of interesting when you take a look at crypto versus gold. They always say, oh, crypto's so volatile, it's so stupid. But really, is gold that much better? 1.5% down in a day, back below what it was back in April. I mean, obviously, it's way less volatile than a crypto, but I mean to say, is it that predictable, really? That, oh, when this goes bad, when this goes good, you buy it? Theoretically speaking, you could argue that gold is going down right now as certainty is coming back to the markets because a trade deal has been announced between the US and UK, and then the US between China, also getting to some sort of conclusion, leading less people to think a recession is going to hit hard, and less people to believe that gold, the safe haven, is necessary. But then again, Bitcoin in that same field is going up, which would counter that logic. And again, I still would like to argue that indeed gold is way less volatile, but it's still up like 30-40% throughout the year. Maybe 25, maybe 20%, maybe it's, I don't know the exact numbers on gold. Gold has been a meme coin recently, it feels like. But to get back at the most important topic at hand, as it currently stands, Bitcoin is facing an interesting resistance. We'll be watching closely over the next few days to see how this weekly candle is going to end up. Because theoretically speaking, we are basically at an all-time high in terms of the weekly close. But again, we're going to only see that Sunday, as right now we are again getting resisted at this roughly $104.5 thousand mark. And I mean, every single time it gets rejected, it's not as if the bots aren't taking in massive amounts of profit, because basically the bot that I've got running on Bitcoin, which again, if you want to, you can copy with the link down below, but it's basically buying every single time we start falling a bit and a bit and a bit, and then selling as we go back up from there. Meaning right now you can see it's just cashing in profits slowly but surely, based on the volatility, which obviously at a point like this is crucial and beautiful because we're not sure if we're going to break through or fall back down, but I'm basically covered in any one of those scenarios. The price starts falling, it'll buy right back in. If the price starts increasing, obviously we've already got a ton of Bitcoin in multiple different positions so that we are in a good spot. Also, take a look at the XRP trade, huh? We didn't take it just now, we took it way before, but interesting how the price just keeps rotating back to our entry. I mean, it feels as if there's a magnet attached to it. But honest truth, all I wanted to cover today real quick was just that Trump is making more announcements saying he's bullish on crypto, trying to basically tease China, get China in. And I kind of feel as if this whole crypto war with regards to China-US could also become a really big thing. Potentially even Russia in the mix, potentially even, I would say some other countries, but most of them will not fight over it. All of these other countries, though, are, I don't know the saying in English, but they're basically waiting for some sort of confirmation of which country is going to be next. Many of those countries don't want to be first, don't want to be second, but more importantly, do not want to be last. Just like how institutional adoption for crypto all of a sudden went really fast just now, and the race for acquiring as much Bitcoin as possible has started, it's still not gotten to a peak. That will still come, give it some time. But I'll remind y'all that soon enough, there's this race of getting as much Bitcoin as possible, and this country-led initiative of buying more we'll pick up the pace. It's not there yet, but it'll happen. And that's why we're basically beating the curve. We're not really there before countries buy anymore, but we're still at some of the earlier phases. And I want you to remember that right now you're getting yourself such a lucky opportunity to buy these coins so cheap. Remember that. I'm not your financial advisor, but I still stand by it that we are in a lucky, fortunate position because things are so freaking cheap right now. And I don't think they'll ever be this level ever again. But even if they are, what a good chance we get again. We got a second chance then. But yeah, you know what? If you want to follow some of the bots or trade crypto, I've got some links down below. Check them out. I've also got a tutorial for how these bots work. That's about it for this little crypto update.